Hey, I'm Ishaan Shakunt, the founder of Spear Growth. We are a B2B SaaS marketing agency and we do two things and two things really well: ads and SEO. If you'd like to work with us on any of these, you can schedule a call with me down below. Now, this is a no nonsense video on the exact messaging framework that we use for demand gen. Now, the caveat is this is demand gen on how you would start it. Now, this obviously involves the channel that you're using, the message frameworks that you're using, the way you're tracking things, all of them evolve as you sort of go. And eventually you would maybe do something as when you're using a lot of intent data, you would maybe do something like an ABM, which a much more complex tech stack. So this is how you would start it, right? Now let's dive right into it. So the first thing you need to understand, or the first way I would do it, is I would make a list of companies that I would want to work with. Now this list needs to be significantly large enough. For example, let's say at least there are specific people you're targeting in each company, right? There need to be at least 10,000 people or so. So in different cases, this might mean having at least 5, 10, 20,000 companies that you're targeting, right? Now in those companies, you can build this list using something like an Apollo, Crunchbase. There's a lot of different software. You'll have to look at, okay, exactly which software is useful for your industry, for your use case, for the kind of filters you want to use. But then this is a list that you create. It's very similar to the prospecting list you would make for a sales team, or you could just use theirs, honestly, right? And then build on that. So that's the first thing I would create. And this is the total audience list, right? The total audience that you really want to be targeting. Now, what we're doing is, let's say we start these ads on LinkedIn, which is the most common way to do it. Now, when you're running these ads, not everyone is going to see them due to different reasons, right? Maybe just haven't spent enough yet. Maybe they just aren't active on LinkedIn, or when you were running the ads, they weren't active. Due to different reasons, out of all of these people that I've marked in like the light orange, only these people who I've marked in like reddish orange, we need to use better colors for these, but the reddish orange have actually seen your ad, right? That's what I'm showing here. Now, out of these people, then what you want to do is you want to then run a second level of ads to them from a retargeting perspective. And let me now show exactly what that looks like, right? For example, let's say the people who are looking at the total audience that's looking at the ads, right? So you're running, let's say, 4 different types of ads. Now, do you know whether they've seen the ad? They could have either clicked on it. If it's a video ad, they could have interacted with it. If it's an in-mail ad, so there's different ways to interact with an ad. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to basically build an audience of people who you know are interested in what you do or in the problem that you're solving. That if you speak about the problem, these are people who have shown interest in that. And that is critical. And why is that critical? Is because with demand gen, the biggest problem is that you know exactly who you are targeting, but you don't know where in the buyer journey they are. For example, with a Google ad, you know where in the buyer journey they are, right? Because you've searched for HR management software. So you know that they are in the decision-making space, in the stage. But you don't know what size of the company they are, who in the company they are. In terms of demand gen, you know exactly who they are. Again, I'm repeating that. You know exactly who they are. You don't know which part of the journey they are. They might just be scrolling through LinkedIn to read inspirational posts that day, right? And then you suddenly show them an ad. Or they might not even have a need or have thought of the problem that you're trying to solve for a very long time now. And some people in the same audience may just be ready to take a decision. You don't know where in the journey you are. So the first thing you want to do is try to build a list of people. Either you nurture them and you educate them to make them interested, or you find people who are already interested and you build a list of them. And that's what we are doing, or seen or interacted with the ad, right? Now, people who have interacted with the ad, out of these people is what we want to show a different set of ads here, right? And again, that's the caveat. For most of the journey, for most of that buying journey is going to happen without any interaction with the brand. I don't know why marketers are fascinated with looking at the brand the entire brand funnel or the entire buying journey and then doing everything in different parts of it. And they assume that you move from one stage to the next stage. That almost never works really well, right? So you need to really figure out that, hey, who is in which stage, or who have I brought to which stage? And then now that they're in this stage, now I change the messaging and I show them. This is a very simple and great way to start demand gen. Now, let's just talk about the kind of messages of the ads that you'll show them. The types of ads, by the way, here usually video ads work really well. You could run you could even run text ads on LinkedIn. You could use image ads, carousels. A lot of things work really well here. Here, my favorite one is in-mail ads. You can, or message ads, as LinkedIn calls it. You can also do image ads and all of the other types as well. Right now, let's talk about what are you actually showing here. So again, this is the same image as here. I just flipped it. Right. So again, what are you showing here? Right. So here I've just divided the messages based on industry expertise, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. So when you are showing image ads to everyone, you want to show them either industry expertise, which is basically, let's say, content beyond us. Like if I had to run that ad for Spear Growth, I would maybe talk about things like, hey, what is happening in the industry or in the B2B SaaS industry, or how to make a growth strategy, or how to make an inbound strategy. So this is basically things that aren't what you do completely, but then they are a huge part of what you do, or what you do is a significant part of that. So it helps build that trust. It helps build that know-how and showcase that you have that know-how, that you can help them solve a part of that. Right now, this is what the industry expertise is. Second is, let's say, the ToFu messaging, which is usually about the problem. What is the problem? Why is it important? Why is it worth solving? What's the ROI of solving it? And in a lot of cases, showing that, hey, this is a problem that is solvable. Because, for example, in our case, a lot of people in the marketing management don't know that performance marketing can be done so much better, so much more efficiently. And if we just show them that, but they do want that, right? Everyone wants it to work better. Now, let's say that I am able to show that, hey, this is how you can do it so much better, right? Now, that is also going to be a good message. Again, showing that this problem that you have is solvable. Now, again, this is the middle of the funnel. Again, these are examples where it could be that, hey, this is exactly how you can use us. You can talk about specific use cases of your solution. Or even one message that I have seen work really well is, hey, how can you do it yourself? Or how can you solve this problem yourself without using us? For example, this video is a MoFu content piece of where we're showing, hey, this is how can you can do it without using us, right? This is our exact framework. Use it. And then if, for example, you want us to do it for you, we've already built trust. We've shown that we know how to do it. Then we actually are going to see some really good conversions from this video itself. So exactly, this is the kind of content you can do it in. Solve it yourself. Now, you can also promote other things like checklists or guides here in Solve It Yourself. Just something to keep in mind. It's the message, not the format. Again, now coming to the BoFu content. Now, bottom of the funnel content is, again, social proof and you can show offers, you can just show messaging, you can show your USPs, you can even show RFP templates based on the industry that you are. And I personally really prefer an in-mail with just an offer, a really short in-mail that works magic here. Right now, this is basically the messaging framework. Now, especially here, right here, you might want to consider, hey, what works, what does not work, how do you want to maximize this? You probably want to do it by, in most cases, you would want to rotate these by the best performing ones. But for retargeting, I would rotate these almost always with equal rotation. Like everyone is going to see all of these 4 ads 25% of the time. Next, what we're going to do is, let's discuss how do you want to even schedule these messages? What does the week on week implementation of this looks like, right? So when you start off week one, so when we start off, right, so we, as soon as the first few weeks, we're in a rapid experimentation phase. So an experiment is a message sent to an audience with an offer, right? And message contains the offer itself, and then we see that, hey, is this message an audience framework resonating, or hey, can we use the same message for a different audience and did that work, or just try different combinations of that. Now we just rapidly every week we launch a new experiment, and what you would want to do is you would want to, on average, at least let these run for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. But then in this case, I've considered, if you're doing it very rapidly, I would still consider letting them run for 3 weeks, right? And getting enough clicks or enough engagement to then take a call that, hey, is this working or not? Now, let's say you've run this in week 1, 2, 3. You start the second one in week 2. You start the third one in week 3. Now, once you get to week 4, the first one has stopped. And then this continues, right? So you create this sort of a ladder where at any given point of time, you have 3 experiments running. In week 3, you see there are 3 experiments. Week 4, again, there are 3 experiments live right now. And eventually what will happen is that you will start seeing patterns that, hey, there are these themes or these large messages that are working. For example, for our audience, let's say increasing efficiency of your X team works really well, or saving X amount of money on this works really well, or fast tracking this works really well, right? That's a broad message, and there can be multiple copies or specific copies inside it, or different ways to showcase the same message. So now once you figure out that, hey, this is message 1, message 2, and maybe like 1 for experimentation, leave 1 out for experimentation, then instead of sort of going to experiment number 4, which is unrelated to 1, 2, and 3, what you can do is you can finalize, hey, these are the 3 messages. Now let me just run the next experiment on the same message and continue doing that, right? And then you see that, okay, this is experiment 1, this is experiment number 4, but then it's in the same theme as what the message experiment 1 was. And this is how eventually it sort of gets streamlined. And this is the framework that we've seen work again and again and again. In terms of, like, one thing I would call out, right? In terms of your KPIs, if you track, let's say, conversions or the cost per conversions or call scheduled or demo bookings for demand gen, it doesn't work really well. So what you want to look at in terms of metrics is 3 things, and all 3 need to work together as leading metrics, right? So first, is the message resonating with your audience? So which basically means, are they interacting with your message in the form of an ad, right? So are they interacting with your ads? It could be CTR, it could be watch percentages or anything, right? That's the first thing. Second is, if let's say you're sending them to your landing page, so are they able to find what they want? Are they behaving in the right way? Are they getting what they expected? So maybe using something like a Microsoft Clarity to look at, hey, who exactly, how are they behaving? And the third aspect is, hey, what are they, are the right people seeing your ad? So you can either use, when you start off, just let's say LinkedIn's inbuilt analytics, but eventually you can also use something like a Clearbit or something else, right? To just see, okay, who actually is coming to the website, apart from what this LinkedIn is telling you by default. And that's basically our entire framework in a nutshell. Again, if you'd like us to do it for you, great, we can help you out. You can schedule a call with me to see that, hey, is this a good fit? Is this really for you or not, right? If not, if you'd like to maybe just look at another video on how we would maybe do the next version of this ABM, we'll even link to that in the comment section or in the description. So thank you for watching.